Hello, and welcome to good old Tumbletown, where the walls might soon, in fact, come tumbling down. My name is Ebube, and this is Popcorn for Dinner. Following the quiet chaos of Rhaenyra's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, she now has to deal with something serious, a powerful enemy who also happens to be smart. With Ormund Hightower finally revealed to us, as well as a certain young man with the last name Targaryen, we have a lot to cover in this episode, and we have a lot to theorize on what their plans might be, or at the very least, where Daeron might come in to make the Greens' day. I won't be doing this alone, of course, because Afam and Soonen are here. Guys, how you doing?
What's up?
We're doing well.
Are you sure? Because I just have to say, it makes sense that if your sister ever comes to visit and, and you have to defend her from brutes in any way, I think it just makes sense that you make it clear that they hit first, just so you don't get brought in to get whacked at the end of the episode. I just think that would be better for you. It feels like advice I should give you.
I think that might have happened either way, but we'll discuss that.
Yeah, we will. And I'm also pleased to say that we also won't be alone, because we have a special guest today who is making her debut on Popcorn for Dinner. Please join me in welcoming Miscellaneous Gab. Hi, Gab.
Thank you,
How are
guys.
we today?
So good. So excited to chat with you guys and discuss all things Hot D. There's a lot to get into in this episode. Like, this was jam-packed. My notes were all over the place. So I feel like there's so much to talk about.
Yeah,
Very much so. This episode was very interesting to me because, as Rhaenyra asked, why seize Tumbleton, right? What did she kind of wake up and find out? And what does she feel in terms of what Ormund might be up to? How stressed is she, right? What is it that we know about that place? What is it that we know about what Ormund is doing that the show hasn't made all that obvious? These are the questions I'm asking in terms of how all of this is being adapted and how it's setting up what is to come, because I think it's only fair to say that a lot will be coming, because shows typically don't take major players and send them to a specific location one by one for nothing, right? So right now, our count is Ormund, Daeron. Daeron hopes Gwaine and Kristen will be joining them. Everybody hopes Aemond will join. We know Hugh is already there, and Ulf is essentially already there too. Hugh's wife is there, so the stakes are high on that end. And for all we know, Rhaenyra and Daemon may have to go there themselves. Like, I mean, this could go anyway at this point, and really tensions are already high. At this point, I would say it's been maybe like 2 weeks max since Jace died. So Rhaenyra barely has any time to grieve. She just is going into everything she's doing. And I mean, I've seen people with takes online that her uncle husband is not doing everything he could to help her kind of acclimate to all this. So what are you guys' takes? Like, how do you feel this episode sort of handled things? I mean, Soonen, we can start with you, because I feel like you probably have a few things marked for us to evaluate on the Adaptometer.
Yes, definitely. So on the Adaptometer, a lot of what happens in this episode is not in the books. But I still think it's a very good adaptation to give motivation to the characters, and also, show us who some of them are, or show a lot of some of them, like Ormund did in the first scene. Now, the first question is, why Tumbleton, right? Like, why would he take Tumbleton? So I think I'm trying to think, like, from the perspective of Ormund here. You've just gotten threatened by Daemon, right? With these dragons. You've given him a fake kid. And you know that they're coming after you. So you have to go somewhere where they won't attack you, because the issue with dragons is that they can attack at any point, anywhere. So you have to go somewhere. What is the one place that they'll hesitate to attack that isn't too far away? And that's my thinking of Tumbleton, is like they know that this is a town that, as the Lord and Lady Footley said, doesn't have any battlements. They don't really have, they don't really have much of a garrison, at least in this adaptation.
Yeah, it's a market town.
It's a market town. So he's like, okay, Rhaenyra, they won't be able to stop me from going in. That's number one. And Rhaenyra won't be able to just swoop in and attack either, because those are her subjects as well. So I think it's a strategic move. And also, it's not too far away from King's Landing, as we said, right? Only, they say leagues in this book, only about 60 leagues from King's Landing. So it's a great place to set up for an attack on King's Landing, especially if you're waiting for, Vhagar to come, and also hoping to get folks from the Stormlands to join you as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like it's also this idea that he was empowered to do what he did because he believed that they would have Aemond.
Yeah.
That is just the truth. I mean, look how frustrated he is. Look how he literally starts crashing out when it's like Aemond isn't showing up. Like, that's not just, oh my God, these kids are idiots. It's also a little bit of, we might be cooked.
I mean, what do you guys think about that crash out, though, in relation to his character? I think Ormund is definitely a control freak.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like Alison said, he despises the uncouth.
He despises the uncouth. I wrote down all the ways he was described. He was described as a stiff-necked windbag by Gwaine.
Yes.
He's definitely someone that's calculated. He's particular and also domineering. And I get the feeling that when things don't go his way, he crashes out. That didn't seem like something that didn't happen often. The way Daeron is like,
100%.
Get out of that.
Get out.
Daeron
right
immediately
now.
knew, like, once he read the paper and he just started to look up, Daeron was like, oh my God. And actually, I honestly, I loved, we'll get into Daeron and just how well he's being played here. But I really love the choice of, like, after he tells that other kid to get out, he backs up a little bit. He's like, okay. He like goes to the wall. Meanwhile, John Roxton just stays still. And then when it's all done, he goes to pick up the chair and it goes back to where he was. I mean, this is literally their normal life.
The way they arrange everything back immediately is done. Like, is the funniest part for me. It's like, okay, my crash out is done.
First time.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like it's in line with his character. Like, everything is so meticulous and in order that even his crash out is timed. Like, he just needs 30 seconds to hit some things with his sword and go crazy. And there's like that little window of unpredictability when like glass might be flying or something might get destroyed, and then he's back to business. And I thought that was so well done because Daeron's clearly seen that before. They kind of know what to expect. And at first I wrote like in my notes that he had a Kristen Cole level crash out from the wedding. But then even like Ormond's crash out felt a little bit more restrained and put together.
Yeah.
Cole will never live that down
on that guy. Man.
We will never allow Cole to forget what he did that day.
Never.
Like, yeah, I mean, Cole is literally the prime example of a guy gets rejected by a girl and just makes it everyone's problem for the rest of his life.
It makes it the whole realm's problem.
It's literally amazing. Like, it's funny though. There are people who feel that the show isn't doing Cole justice, making him this kind of brooding, reflective character. That he's supposed to be Christian Cole, the kingmaker, as he's called in the books, the person who tells Aegon take the throne and essentially helps Alicent do everything she does. But I have a feeling that person might be on his way. Just the way he has this new resolve in this episode. And it's like this Brokeback storyline he's been having Gwaine this whole time is now kind of
Brokeback
transforming.
storyline is hilarious, man.
It's transforming into something where he feels like he's burdened with glorious purpose, as Loki would say. So I feel like now they're going to kind of fight, not necessarily fire with fire, but perhaps stones with fire. This idea of guerrilla warfare that he's talking about, he's saying, we'll attack them like the scorpion attacks the ox, which is a very interesting metaphor because scorpions are fearless. It's like, if I die, I die, but I know I'm taking you with me type of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very interesting image because him being somebody who is from the Stormlands that has fought a lot in Dorne and on the border between the Stormlands and Dorne, this idea of scorpions is very apt. And this idea of guerrilla warfare is very apt because that's really the only way that
Dornish
wars
fights,
are fought in Dorne, because you can't really touch those guys. At this point in the story, at this point in the world of the show, Dorne is not part of the realm.
Yeah.
Right? Dorne is still something that comes much later. In fact, it comes at the time of just a little bit before A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, because Egg's grandfather married a Dornish woman, and that's how Dorne entered the fold. So Dorne, by the time of Game of Thrones, Dorne has only really been one of the seven kingdoms, so to speak, for about 100 years, maybe like 120.
I'm just happy that Sir Kristen has something to do other than painting his shield and being cavalier about sexual assault and chilling in his tent. Like, I'm really glad he has something to do. I think the actor is really good, Fabian Franco, and I think the show needs to utilize him more. He has a lot to bring to the cast. So I'm excited he and Gwen actually have a purpose. They have something to do, which is great for them and for us.
I'm on the flip side of that because I was really enjoying the depressive streak. I'm like, yes, be depressed. I love the delta it brings just in relation to everyone who has glorious purpose. People are going to war. And you just have them being like depressed, riding around God knows where, doing God knows what, waiting for Aemon to come. I mean, everyone's waiting for Aemon at this point.
Everyone is, yeah.
I feel like Kristen is... The choices he's made is really aligned with the central theme of his character, which is like he lost his honor way back when, and now he's just been kind of taking shots, like throwing spaghetti at the wall. First, he tries to ask Rhaenyra to run away with him. Then he's crashing out. Then he's gonna, off himself. Then he turns into like this depressed, nihilistic Pablo Picasso painting on his shield. But then it's the same attitude towards life that makes him be like, well, let's be scorpions now. Let's just attack because it doesn't matter if we live or die. And I feel like it's that he has the same outlook. It's just like it's going down a lot of different avenues for him. So I like seeing what he's up to and how it's going to change.
Yeah. Haven't you ever had a depression hobby before?
Yeah.
Guerrilla warfare is a great depression hobby. If you ever,
I mean, it's pretty taxing on the body, but yeah, I would say it's fair that he can do that. And, they have a ways to go. I think it's also interesting, that, Orwylle, who, again, fighting for his life here, is trying
constantly.
Yeah, he suggests that they send the foot soldiers from the Riverlands to Tumbleton, right, on their way to King's Landing, right? So a few things are interesting to me about that. First of all, the fact that, more people, like I said, are still going to Tumbleton, and it's not that far away from King's Landing. Like Soonen said, it's about 60 leagues, which is around 180 miles, like 290 kilometers. So if you're obeying normal speed limits, it should take you like 3 hours on the highway or something like that. So I feel like, well, dragons would definitely be faster, or at least I would assume that they are. So
but they can't use dragons.
That's the thing.
That's too sensitive.
And the other thing is the fact that when Orwylle suggests that and sits down, Mysaria shares a bit of a look with him that made me feel a little curious, I guess. When he sat at the table, he just he just started to feel to show this this sense of like, okay, I'm kind of comfortable here. And Mysaria nods. I don't know if that's a nod of like, we are two people who've kind of worked our way up to the highest table in the land, or a nod of like, remember what we discussed before, off screen. So I don't know if something's gonna come up. We'll have to see.
I mean, with Mysaria, it seems like she's loyal to Rhaenyra for sure. And she's always speaking up for the small folk. So I wonder if it's a thing of like, is this going to be good for the small folk, perhaps? Like,
Afam, what do you think? Do you trust Mysaria at this point in the story? I feel like you've been you've always been a Mysaria dissenter.
Until the day I die, I will be, because why is she here? Like, I just don't understand her. Like, exactly. Like, she was Daemon's like. They were dating, right? She was pregnant for him at some point, like in season 1.
That was a lie.
I don't know if she was really.
She wasn't actually pregnant. He just said that to kind of rile
to mess with Otto.
Yeah, but because she later told Rhaenyra that. Yeah, she later told Rhaenyra that she actually can't have children. So that whole thing was she was a ruse.
Oh wow!
All right, I feel like maybe with all the accent changing and all that kind of stuff, I'm just not a fan of the character. So every time I see her on screen, I'm like, she's like playing moves or trying to like. I'm like, Daemon is literally married to Rhaenyra. Why are you trying to come in between their marriage? Like, why are you trying to have families be unsuccessful? Like, please take a seat.
I think calling her a homewrecker.
Not to.
Yes.
Not to be crass, but I think she's already come between their marriage, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you forgot about that.
Yeah,
I'm just not a fan of this character.
In fact, I realized something about that from episode 3. There's a moment when they're in that carriage heading towards the Sept Square. You know, they're about to give out food to all these people. Rhaenyra is talking about how she hasn't slept in a while. And Mysaria has a smile and says, a new mattress, perhaps. And then Rhaenyra pauses, looks at her and says, perhaps. And I realized later, you know, when I watched the episode again, that was her actually inviting Rhaenyra into her own bed.
Wow, that was so smooth, isn't it?
Yeah, that was actually. I was like, that was so smooth. Most of us didn't even catch it. I'm like, okay, I was not familiar with your game.
I mean, she's so subtly manipulative, and I'm with you. I'm a Mysaria hater ever since like she had a Jamaican accent. Like that had to go. It was so bad in season 1. Like now she's not Jamaican, but she's something else. I don't know what she is, but I feel like she said a line, and I rewatched season 1 and 2 recently, so I can't remember when this was, but like that she gave up kind of on the whole prostitution trade a while ago. Now she manages secrets and whatever. I think it was end of season 1, but it's like that is still within her, and I do feel like she knows her power and her effect on people, and she was manipulating Daemon in a way to get his protection back in season 1, and now I feel like she's for herself first, and then for the small folk second, and then maybe Rhaenyra third. But I think she knows exactly what she's doing, and Rhaenyra doesn't have a strong council of people, and it really is Mysaria is the closest one to her. So I think she's kind of like playing eye games and mental games with anyone like Daemon or Orwylle who comes to the table to try to counsel Rhaenyra. Feels purposeful.
Yeah. Oh,
like
one thing
establishing her territory, essentially.
One thing at the table that was a cool bit of continuity was Rhaenyra saying that the small council balls were no longer
relics of a dead regime.
Used. Yeah, new regime. And that makes sense that in the later series, we don't see those anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, man. All these things with tables changing, it's all Rhaenyra's fault. Even like the art of lining up the Dragonstone table is lost. By the time Daenerys gets
Rhaenyra's fault? Is that a green tree I see behind you? Are you switching sides?
Secret green.
Wait, let's ask Gab. What team are you? Are you team black or team green?
Oh, I'm team black all the way.
See, a reasonable person.
All the way.
And she appears in uniform, just like me. And I don't know why I'm being accused by a guy in a green shirt. Just saying.
I'm wearing blue. Okay. Blue with a little bit of black, but also
the rest of us are in black. I don't know. I feel like we've been infiltrated here, but no problem.
No. Okay. I'm no longer team green, and here's why.
What?
Yes. Here's why. I know. I'm no longer team green because there's a new color in the realm. What happens when you mix green and red? You get brown. I'm team brown, which
What?
is
Who's
the
that?
third, Alicent's fourth child and the true and rightful heir to the
Oh
Iron
my
Throne.
God.
Okay, I'm
Daeron?
team Daeron.
All
Yeah,
right.
you know what? That's fair.
I'm team
That's
Daeron
fair.
is
Daeron.
a redhead, but okay, no problem. Got it.
The Team
So
Red, I guess.
actually, on that note, speaking of brown and earth, I should point out that when something else we're covering on this podcast, and we will be covering over the next few weeks, is the Odyssey. We've already started. We are excited for what Christopher Nolan is doing with that story. There's a lot of stuff that we're doing, not just there, but even with our MCU 12 series where we're ranking Marvel movies and trying to figure out what the top 12 are. The most recent one was number 7, and I think you're going to like that. But in terms of the Odyssey, so far we've released a cheat sheet, everything you need to know for a casual person who has never even thought about what the Iliad or Odyssey or any of these Greek epics might be. We take some time to explain that. It was myself, Bankole, and Priscilla, and we had a lot to say. We took our time to make it clear what you need to know, what's kind of irrelevant, and just to prepare you for when the movie comes out, because yeah, this is going to be quite a year for a lot of people, including Zendaya and Tom Holland. So stay tuned for that. And I suppose, speaking of turns and great years, or maybe even not so great years, I want to talk a little bit about Aegon and Larys. because
Aegon
those
and
guys,
Larys, man.
yeah, I feel like
The
as annoying
dynamic
as some
duo.
people may find the Aegon Larys storyline, I'm really glad it exists because it's fleshing out an aspect of the story that the book would never really have been able to. Yeah, right. We finally
Absolutely.
see, Aegon's true agenda. For example, the reason he wants to return to Rook's Rest, he's trying to get his dragon, and these dragon bonds that they have are very strong. Like it's basically like a brother to him, right? And while he still hasn't figured out for whatever reason, just like his mom, that he's walking through the woods in Gucci and should stop speaking High Valyrian, it just like he essentially just needs to get his power back, but he hasn't realized that he needs to kind of deal in subterfuge, which is luckily for him something Larys is very good at.
It's very good.
So
yeah.
it's an interesting pair. A guy who is very used to being sneaky and hiding his power, paired with a guy who is very loud and proud about his power and his privilege. And they are essentially trying to survive a world where everything is cutthroat together. And the world is a wild place, even in our real world. I mean, the fact that Sunfire has been dead for all of like a month, and then there are people who are like selling tickets to touch the dragon. I mean, it just tells you.
That's funny.
Yeah.
People
I
will literally
liked
do anything.
that. I like that a lot, actually. And I like the whole Rook's Rest, area too, because it shows
Showing
that,
where Melis
you have
fell
all
and
these,
everything and how they cut off the head and all that.
Yeah, like you have these big battles and stuff, but what's the aftermath at these places? Obviously, it devolves into, terrible chaos and every man for himself, people stripping like, corpses, kind of like what we saw in the Knights of the Seven Kingdoms, that dunk.
Kids robbing
was-
corpses to survive. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exact same thing.
That is the other side of things. And one would hope that Aegon is seeing all this and understanding the consequences of war, but something tells me that he's not learning that at all.
Yeah, I think he's focused on finding his way back to vengeance to kill his brother. But yeah, Gab, what do you think?
Yeah, at first I thought we were going to have like a really nice tale that mirrored Duncan Egg, where a different Aegon, appreciated life as a common
small folk.
folk.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love this series of rich people doing poor people's jobs. Like, I want to see that in real life, and maybe Aegon we'll learn a perspective on how people live and how they're affected. But no, I think he just hates them more. Like, I think if I was waiting for Sunfire to come alive and pop out, and that, like, I thought that could happen in this episode just as a non-book reader. I'm like, maybe Sunfire will pop out, Aegon will jump on Sunfire and just burn this whole town because he's like so pissed at them
I
that
think
they're
Aegon
making
wanted
him
that
dig
too.
latrines. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's only going to toughen his resolve to get back in charge, like brutally squash anyone who opposes him. But I mean, Larys is in his element, like listening for things, getting in on all the hot tea and gossip in the area. But also, like, one thing I noticed is Larys is walking around with a lot of money. Like, is he the one who took the money from Rhaenyra? Because I mean, he's just like throwing coins out left,
That's
right,
funny.
and center.
There's actually
Yeah.
a theory that I saw a theory this past week that Thailand took all the gold to Castle Rock and Lannisport, and that's the reason the Game of Thrones Lannisters are so rich because they stole Rhaenyra's gold.
Oh, I mean,
that could make sense because Tywin himself, like in Game of Thrones, says, "Yo, our gold mines have been dry for like a long time."
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Wow, that'd be a fun bit of continuity for
That
sure.
would be crazy. Yeah, and actually, while we're on the topic, do you guys think Sunfire is alive? Or is Aegon delusional? Like, is there any chance?
Delulu.
Oh,
That dragon gone.
I mean,
It's literally fossilized.
yeah, well, I was just going to say, as a Team Black, I don't want Sunfire to be alive because I want the Blacks to have more dragons.
Okay,
And they're
fair
kind of
enough.
down sheep stealer in this case. So selfishly, I don't want Sunfire to be alive, but I feel like they've teased us too much with Aegon thinking I thought it was a she the whole time, but I guess that he's alive. So we'll see. I just don't know. I don't know, like, how can a dragon be laying there basically dead for a month and come back to life? I don't know about dragon biology and how it works.
Maybe it's
after
hibernation.
they've been burned.
we need to get a dragon biologist on the show, man.
Yeah,
That's what we need.
I will definitely look into that. So I think another thing to talk about in terms of people and their expectations is, well, Corlys, right? He had a pretty big episode 3. And now in episode 4, he is trying to figure out what he should do next while being as far from Rhaenyra as possible. And
Which
I think if you
don't
ask,
like. I want Corlys close. He's so good. Like,
yeah,
every time he's on the screen, he's magnetic. And then last season, he was cleaning a ship for damn near the whole season.
yeah,
And now
that's
this
crazy,
season,
yeah.
he gives us 2 amazing episodes. And then now he's gone again. It's like, no, come back, man.
Yeah, it's. I
Go
mean,
away.
this is true because I mean, he, like, just upon further inspection, it's quite clear that he took some risks, right? I thought maybe he was just being bold and he was like saying what he was saying to Rhaenyra because he knew that it was true and that she is not somebody who could touch him in that way.
Oh.
I think also that may have been a risky move for him from his own perspective too, in the sense that he was like, yeah, burn me if you want, but I'm going to say it too, the same way Vaemond did, which nobody should be emulating Vaemond. He actually wasn't that wise. But at the same time, maybe he left thinking, what I did was pretty dangerous. Maybe I should skip town before Daemon gets back.
You know what? That's a great point. Yeah. Yeah.
And do what? He was justified in everything he said. Rhaenyra really fucked up with
I
all
mean,
that
so
going
was
on.
Vaemond, but we saw what happened.
No,
to
Vaemond
him.
was different.
Yeah, but you can't
Vaemond was
speak like
different.
that to
He
the
didn't have
sovereign.
swag. Yeah, but he spoke to just her. Vaemond said that shit at court with everyone there.
And so
He
did
was shouting,
Corlys.
though. Like, there were
Corlys
other
was
people around.
shouting. Like, if you look in the
Yeah.
background, people were like, yo, what's going
but
on?
like, I don't know. Vaemond
And even the
Vaemond
way
had
he
that
did
swag.
it, He was like, literally all her children one by one. This one is a bastard.
Went through the
This
whole
one is a
list.
bastard. This one lived and
Yeah.
died. Like, bro.
He said,
But again,
"Lived
what he
and
was
died."
asking for was legitimacy of his children. Vaemon was saying like what Vaemon was asking for was like fuck your kids, but what he was saying had nothing to do with her kids. It was like, you guys are set. My wife is dead. My family is destroyed. Blah 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 blah. I have no heirs.
That's
Give me an
fair
heir.
to some degree. But here's the thing, though. And I said this over the course of the week, right? He engineered the situation in a lot of ways, right? She was put into this marriage that was basically just an arrangement. And then when the person she married, Corlys's gay son, was not interested in having actual biological children with her, she kind of figured out that she had to do something else because she needed heirs. If they didn't have heirs, there would have been more questions.
She was wilding, bro.
She was wilding because she didn't have to. She was wilding, of course, because she didn't have to have 3 of them. I get that.
Yeah,
she did
3
not have
was
to have 3 of them.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's like
based on her duty. She was enjoying her win.
She definitely was, but and I think there is something deeper here about Rhaenyra's willfulness actually being a desire to have the same freedom that the Targaryen men have, because you could actually say that this idea of Targcest, as some people call it, is not just about keeping the bloodlines pure or holding the secrets of the dragons. It's also to kind of keep the Targaryen women down in a way, because even when a Targaryen woman is first in line to the throne, they assume that her brother will rule. And they essentially marry that younger brother to her and say, yeah, they will rule together. So essentially, every claim that a Targaryen woman has to power is sort of neutered by this tradition. And Rhaenyra obviously didn't have to deal with that, though she almost did, because lest we forget, Otto literally suggested she marry her baby brother. So,
which honestly could have probably been the best option if he recognized her right to be the sovereign.
I think he would have. Because he didn't want to be king until he was like kind of put in that position.
I mean, obviously he grew up to become a maniacal sex pest, but at the same time,
Let's not forget.
Yeah, so like he has his own serious issues, and the whole family has issues. The same way as reviling, as people found it, to see what Aemond did with Alicent to Alicent actually in episode 1. That is actually one of the few things the show, not one of the few things, but one of the things specifically that the show actually gets right in terms of characterization. Because you can draw so many like straight lines from who Aemond was presented to be at the beginning of the show to who he is now. And I'm actually, like, if you really think about it, it is not that shocking that somebody with the kind of mommy issues he has would do that, especially since he believed as a child that she was his only ally. When he came into power and started sitting on the small council, he put her in her place, exerting power just because he could. And he's like trying to essentially show that, he can be the man in her life. And he sees it that way, which is twisted in so many ways. But I mean, as wild as it is to see on screen, it kind of makes sense for that character to do that. Or at the very least, it's not surprising that he would do that. And Olivia Cook's performance as Alicent in that scene is something I will continue to praise, because just this mix of shock and fear and also trying to advance her agenda, such that literally as soon as he turns away, she's crying like silently. Beautiful. Like everybody is just acting like crazy on this show, like literally cinema. It's amazing. So I'm grateful for all of that. And still on the topic of Corlys, I'm thinking about Alyn too, right? And one thing cosmetically and that I feel I should mention is the dagger that Alyn wears. This is a dagger that we've seen on Corlys before, right? So I think it's this idea that Corlys, despite not being able to legitimize his children yet, and to be fair, by the way, based on everything we just said, I don't think it's that Rhaenyra doesn't even want to do. She's like, dude, let's get situated first. Let me get coronated.
Give me a minute.
Like, give me a sec. Like on one
Well-
hand, she has him asking about this, then she has Hugh asking her about he wants a house in the Hamptons, and at the same time, like Alyn, he is wearing this dagger, and I think that's Corlys' way of saying like, okay, I can start preparing you to succeed me, which people like Viserys could learn from. But at the same time, I like that decision because that dagger is very recognizable, partly because Daemon has it too. And I think that dagger is actually kind of a memento from their time waging war in the Stepstones. Either that or there's just like a very popular dagger smith in that's accessible to the richest of people.
It's the latest fashion.
Something with this specific hilt is just there, but I think it's a very distinct dagger. And it makes me want to ask, Soonen, I know you have thoughts as well, like on everything I've just said, but also on the idea that Alyn is now in Rhaenyra's court and we need to ask ourselves, could he really do well here? Corlys tells him there is great opportunity for you here. I can give you the chance to better yourself. But so far, I guess he's doing okay. The cats in Game of Thrones seem to be his idea. So that's cool. But, what else could he gain here? Like, do we think he could have, or I guess could muster the confidence to actually support Rhaenyra and be, a decisive voice like his father would?
I think he has the opportunity to make a good case for his legitimization, honestly. Because at the time, she's asked to legitimize him, she doesn't really know him or Adam very well. She hasn't really been close to them. But now, with him being in the small council, he can give advice and show that, I have a lot of value here, which he has already done with his idea of cats. They've been dealing with this mice-rats problem for a while, and no one has given any options on what to do. And he's literally the first person to do that. So, I think he has an opportunity to really legitimize. So there was something you said earlier that I wanted to push back against, which is that, Rhaenyra is like, oh, maybe not right now. And like Corlys is like, oh, kind of tripping there. I disagree because Rhaenyra said, maybe when eyes are not on me. Eyes are always going to be on you. You're the monarch.
Exactly.
That is, when someone
maybe she meant
telling
maybe when the eyes on me are things I don't have to worry about.
She's always going to have to worry about
have
them.
to worry about anything,
and that would be a mistake on her part, right?
Kingdoms.
Even Viserys knew that eyes were always on him.
Always. So for me, if I'm Corlys, I'm like, oh, that is just an excuse. That is just an excuse and a cop out. So, I mean, I like the idea though that you guys brought up of Corlys also realizing that maybe I shouldn't stick around after saying all that. I do hope
she can't kill him. She can't. Well, she's fucked if she does. She's so fucked if she does.
What's
it's not her I'm worried about that would kill him.
her?
I think Daemon would, because he wouldn't have said that stuff to Daemon.
Then who's her ally? If she's dead, who's her ally?
Literally, Daemon's
who's
whole
her powerful
thing is
ally?
she needs no one but me. Daemon will kill everyone to secure her courts.
Daemon, I think with Daemon is like we have dragons, we don't need any allies, but that's probably not the right way.
That's why you're not king, Daemon.
Well, I think like when we were talking about Tumbleton and Ormund and the Greens moving in, that is a very big strategic problem. Like you said, you're dealing with an enemy that's also smart and calculated, and right now their only focus is how they can, F up Rhaenyra. But Rhaenyra is dealing with a million things, including that one, and she doesn't have her hand there. And I know Corlys is like, oh, I need to be at sea, but he's still probably one of the best strategic minds that she has access to. And even though Alyn suggested some cats, awesome, but I don't think he has the strategic mind and political experience to truly give her what she needs in a hand, like a steady counsel there. So I think she's really handicapped because Corlys is gone.
Handicapped.
Damon's
See what he did there.
Wait, is Alyn of Hall? I don't remember him getting a name.
He's,
Alyn of Hall,
he hasn't been knighted, but he's from
okay.
Hall. So.
No, because I wasn't
Gab,
sure.
do you think Daemon should be her hand?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't.
Well,
Okay.
as a Team Brown, yes.
Wow.
It's a good idea.
I just think
Daemon.
Daemon is really good at like a couple things, which is just war crimes and doing what needs to be done. And it's like when he has someone to kill or a group of people to burn,
He's
like
an
he is in
enforcer.
his element. He was amazing when it came to putting Rhaenyra on the throne. When it comes to actually governing, I don't think he should be her hand at all. I think he always needs a task, whether it's fighting a different war in the Stepstones or doing something. As soon as he gets restless is when shit starts to hit the fan. And
Yeah.
I think now that he's
Yeah.
lying to her, it could get even worse.
Yeah, speaking of things Daemon is not good at, setting up a lie. That's one of those, because...
Such a bad lie, too.
And parenting as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
What did you
parenting
guys
continues
think
to
of
be a
his
theme in-
reunion with Rhaena?
Yeah, it continues to be a theme in this show, and yeah, I definitely have thoughts on Daemon and Rhaena, and specifically the force that is Matt Smith. The guy
One
is
actor.
like, I don't know, he's just so good. I don't know how else to put it. Like, Matt Smith might be the coolest actor on TV because, this is something that I was discussing with Bankalia as well. Just if you had told us 3 episodes ago that we would see Daemon having an actual emotional scene with ranges of emotion played by Matt Smith with Phoebe Campbell, right? I don't know if a lot of people would have believed you, but
No.
just the general, first of all, the shock of like, okay, what's going on? Why is there a dragon here? And then he sees the person coming out, and then he's like, Rhaena. Just the shock of like a dad who sent his kid to school and she came back with her head shaved. Just,
No, she didn't come back. He found her
He found
somewhere
her.
else with her head shaved. She didn't come back.
Or
bro.
rather, it was Caraxes that found her.
Caraxes, yeah. Shout out to Caraxes, man. That's the one dragon who stands on business all the time. So I feel, and it's cool actually, and that is true. I really do mean that, because the dragons are really designed as characters in this story because they have personalities too, and I like that the show is able to display that to us. But you know, Rhaena comes out and she's calling herself Rhaena the Unfortunate, and she was looking hella unfortunate in this episode.
What do you think? What do you think the last time she took a shower was? How long has it been?
Who
Shower.
even knows?
Oh,
I don't
bath.
shower.
Sorry, bath. They don't have
Bath.
showers.
Well, I mean, maybe she wants to be more like this new companion she has, that she's saying, he is mine, he is a part of me. And Daemon and I reacted the exact same way. Just this, oh my God.
Oh, no.
And he was just like,
His
oh my,
reactions
like,
are
you-
hilarious,
just this
man.
idea of like fear and worry and concern and disbelief that Matt Smith is playing all at the same time. Because it's like all these things are happening, plus you are my daughter and my wife is hunting you down.
No,
Like,
my wife sent me
Sent
the
me
killer
to
of
hunt you
killers
down.
to hunt you down.
So I
It's
mean,
funny
it
because
was,
I think like he did the most that Daemon could, given Daemon's lack of, I guess, like you said, there was so much emotional range in a man
Yeah.
who does not have a lot of emotional range. So
yes,
it was cool to see that like press upon the probably very maximum he can
Beautiful
go as Daemon to like,
yeah,
you know, caring or consoling or trying to convince someone emotionally of something. Whereas like maybe a different father or somebody who inherently is more empathetic could have actually convinced Rhaena to do the thing. But I think he's just like, he doesn't know. He doesn't know how to deal with his daughter. And I saw a lot of similarities between Rhaena and Daemon. Like Daemon kind of grew up with a chip on his shoulder, feeling cast aside, maybe not cared about because he was never chosen as the heir, even though he felt like he should have been. In a similar way, Rhaena was never given the time of day because she didn't have a dragon. So it's like I felt like we were so close to maybe a happy ending there of like, let's sort this out, let's figure it out. But ultimately, like he had to walk away from her and kind of, but still give her what she wanted because he felt like he owed her that.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
father
agree.
of the
I
year.
agree with you. It's just, yeah, like I said, it's a beautiful scene, and I feel like his gambit that follows is kind of an interesting choice because
Man.
I mean it was funny in many ways, right? Because first of all, you have you have him arriving and saying, I bring gold and I bring justice, and then he just drops a head, which he was holding in his hands, by the way, which don't do that, but on the table. And Rhaenyra is like, Rhaenyra was like, what is this? Like, the look on her face was amazing. And then obviously when he says, like, oh, this is Sheepstealer's rider, she's like, her face changes and you can see Emma Darcy just bringing back that amazing acting yet again, right? And
yeah, they're so good.
One of my favorite things about that was really the end when he leaves the room and Mysaria is like, whose head is that?
I was like, shut up, man.
Like, Mysaria
Yo,
didn't chop it for
I love
1
that
second.
line.
She's like, I don't believe a single word you just said. Not one.
Yeah.
Whose head is that?
It's giving what they did to Laenor. Like, they just found a random person, burned him. And was like, hey, believe that this is Laenor, and Laenor is now dead. And like, no one believed that was
honestly,
the real
I hope
story.
Rhaenyra thinks about that too. I hope Rhaenyra is like,
Yeah.
wait, haven't we done this before?
Yeah,
we've tried
she's
to
like,
cover up something and show that someone was dead when they really weren't. So this is like, we've been here before. This is his MO for trying to cover up a fake murder.
And also,
Speaking
she's like, okay, where is the dragon itself? He's like, oh yeah, it flew away. I'm like,
And I'm sure that's what Mysaria was like. All right, okay.
All right, bro.
like,
Is
how?
Laenor dead, by the way? Because
You know
Seasmoke has
what?
a new
That's
rider.
a great question, and
I think he's dead.
the fandom is divided on this, and it goes back to the understanding of a dragon and a dragon rider's bond.
Which
Now,
the show is
per
turning around.
strict canon, per GRRM, a dragon bonds once with a rider and does not bond with another rider until that rider is dead.
Mhm.
Now, I
Yeah.
don't know what the rules are in Ryan Condal's world. I don't know if he's ever gotten into it. We know we saw Laenor rowing away, to go live his best life in Essos. But
Which is
now,
crazy. Like, just
if we
That's
go
crazy.
with the canon, it means he's gone. It means he
Yeah.
has to be dead for Seasmoke to claim another
To take
rider.
another rider, yeah.
So,
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Or,
So I guess in
or
their
living
minds-
his best
in their
afterlife.
minds, they were like, okay, we're still going to get to this idea of, Laenor being dead, but we'll take our time to get there just to kind of give Rhaenyra and Daemon this little storyline of subterfuge and causing Rhaenys a lot of heartbreak, which I...
Poor
anyway.
Rhaenys.
But,
Poor
Rhaenys.
we have to... I think it is only right that as part of this topic of the Daemon, his ruse, sheep stealer, the unfortunate shepherd who was literally in the wrong place at the wrong time, we need to talk about
He was
Nettles.
just there looking like, bro, you're in danger.
No, I
I'm
find
in
him interesting,
danger.
actually, because you just, there's a dragon. Maybe he didn't know there was a dragon up there, but then you saw Caraxes fly and land. There is no way I'm staying there, bro. Like, you should have been, you're just there looking. Yeah, that's
a
very
bird.
interesting to me. But
That's
yeah,
a plane.
with all of that, I think we actually need to talk a little bit about Nettles.
Oh, Nettles.
Yeah. Because
I'm
obviously,
seeing how they're folding it in.
because obviously Rhaena is now in the wind and so is Sheep Stealer. And at this point in the story, Nettles would have been doing certain things with the Blacks. And I just wonder what you guys think in terms of how we're going to make certain things work, how the show will address certain storylines and certain actions that Sheep Stealer may be involved in. I don't know. Like, we'll have to see how they land that particular plane, but what could they be doing here?
I think there's a way they can land it. They can land it in such a way where Nettles or Rhaena in this case, because now Rhaena cannot intersect with Rhaenyra. Like, that cannot happen. If Rhaenyra finds out, it's over. So I think those things can happen because technically in the story, Rhaenyra, is in King's Landing right now. She's not out in the Riverlands and in the Vale with Daemon or anyone else who's going about doing stuff. So I think there's still a way for them to land that plane without affecting too much of the story in terms of like the things that Nettles, now Rhaenyra's character, does.
Do you guys, like, I know about Nettles. I don't know a little bit about Nettles, but I'm not a book reader, so I don't know what happens. But do you think there is a world in which Rhaena will be able to control Sheepstealer, and then Rhaenyra could forgive her if she really needed another dragon? Like, if something
Rhaenyra
happened.
forgive Jace for Jace the face? No.
But it wasn't even like her fault. I mean, I agree, like, she should have taken a beat before entering the fray, but you know, it was technically like
so.
a
If you were Rhaena, and I'm Rhaenyra, how are you going to explain to me that you caused the death of my son? Why are you going to tell me?
Well, I would say like, hey, I was trying to help and it just went horribly wrong. Sorry. Love Jace, but I'll give you the power of this vicious dragon to help you win your war, and then maybe you can send me to the wall after all is said and done.
Well,
yeah,
maybe.
I think like the only way which she will ever forgive her is if like it was Rhaenyra's idea to send Cannibal in, Sheepstealer in. That's the only way or if after it happened she came out and said it immediately. But now it's like gone on for too long. There's so much subterfuge.
And not only that, you've hidden it from me. Like from this time,
which also implicates Daemon, and that
I think now with Daemon involved, there's no going back.
That realization is essentially just what's going to destroy this whole thing. Because even if Rhaenyra was down to forgive Rhaena, the fact that it would now look like Rhaena and Daemon were conspiring against her is too much.
Exactly. Yeah, it's too much. Daunting.
Yeah,
I'm sure Mysaria is happy because she can turn this into some scheme.
And Daemon walks around like, oh,
Daemon.
He walks around and he's telling.
I was just gonna say, like, I loved Emma Darcy's performance here because it was like Rhaenyra wants to grieve, but it feels so incomplete. So she's like trying to force herself to feel something, but she feels so conflicted over it. So yeah, I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like there's a lot of tension. There's a lot that's being sort of unsaid. And, you know, I feel like that's the case in every aspect of the episode, right? Every location, every dynamic that we see on screen, whether it's, you know, Daeron and Ormund, whether it's Rhaenyra and Daemon, whether it's, you know, even Rhaena and Daemon, right? Like there's tension, there's stuff that's being unsaid, there's stuff that, you know, is given weight by the history that's there, the relationship. And that's really what this whole thing is about, is how all these different relationships essentially almost destroyed the world. So
one relationship I think Rhaenyra needs to be more concerned about is our boy Ulf.
Oh boy.
Ulfie.
Man. Ulf is,
trying to take him out of the tavern.
Yeah.
Not a good move.
Because
that guy could be an issue, man. Like honestly.
Yes. And Rhaenyra is applying a very heavy hand to the dragon.
She thinks she's dealing with a reasonable person who grew up in court and understands customs. Like
exactly.
This is an Agbiru. Like, I mean, you kind of like this is somebody who is essentially like he's someone from the streets. He's fully a commoner, and he's landed on what is basically a gold mine. And now he can use that gold mine to help you or hinder you. So you can't just rely on this idea of they will honor their vows to me. Like these are people who were taught to honor vows. These are people who were taught to survive.
But that's Rhaenyra's problem is, and this is all the way back in season 1 when she sends Lucerys to Baratheon as like, oh, you
who is
made
mentioned
a vow,
in this episode, right?
Yeah, you honor your vow to me, and it's like you don't.
But what's in it for me, though?
You need some give and take, and Ulf is like, well, I want this for my guys. I want this for my guys. And what that conversation ends up with him being is she tells him, oh, now you can't go. Not only am I not going to give your guys anything, now you can't go to the bars that you like so much. And you have to keep doing this thing I'm sending you to do.
But him showing up to ask for royal pardons, accommodations, and tax exemptions is wild, though. Tax exemptions.
I love it. To ask for something, though. Like,
that's a special kind of madness.
I think she should give him something.
No,
like
100% she should. But I think from her perspective, everyone is asking her for something, and she's stretched thin mentally, and that's the issue.
Heavy is the crown, or heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah,
I think about how good of offers the Greens made to people when they usurped the throne.
That's the thing. That's an Otto thing. It's political skill. It's acumen.
Like, Otto gave Rhaenyra even such a good deal. Like, you'll have Dragonstone, your kids will come to court, blah, 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 offering this to the Baratheons. And it's like, you've already asked these common folk to risk their lives in bonding with a dragon. They watched so many people burn. Now you're asking them to risk their life in dragon warfare where they don't know anything about it. Now,
nuclear bombs.
You're taking away, like, Ulf's whole thing is, like, he came back to his homies and was like, I'm Ulf the Dragon Rider now. I'm like Sir Ulf. So you gotta give them something to keep them, like, you have to distract these men from the fact that they now are riding nuclear weapons around the world. Like, they can go somewhere else. They can fly away and conquer another country if they wanted to with that. So I feel like
they could conquer her country.
Exactly. And she's not seeing that. And I want to almost go and be like, you should spend more time on these dragon seeds.
Make them feel important.
Yes, and it gets to the point where Ulf threatens her. Ulf, like, straight up threatens her. Is like, they hate you, like, people are writing bastard on the wall. That wasn't him just reporting that. That was him saying, like, not everyone is rocking with you,
Yeah.
Like,
Ulf had some finesse in that scene. He was
he
like,
actually did.
Sure there.
He said that, misinformed subjects who may think their queen unkind. Right after she refused everything he just asked for. And I was just like, wow, this man is dangerous.
And then Rhaenyra takes the wrong message from that and sends the gold cloaks to go brutalize these people. She doesn't even realize that just saying, find who did it is basically unleashing violence.
And not the gold cloaks that Daemon trained. You can't let those guys out.
Trained specially by Daemon of all people.
The gold cloaks in that era are just like a group of thugs and golds. And that's very interesting to me. It's interesting commentary on, I guess, what police states can look like as well from a show like this. Daemon is out
and now
here.
all the goodwill she get from giving those root vegetables out is now
vegetables.
now gone.
Daemon is out here. I mean, again, this is somebody who constantly believes the people wanting to be fed is an inconvenience. He says he's the clever one, and his gambit, I don't know how long it will last, as we've said. But I mean, obviously, when he says I'm the clever one around here, he's talking to Manderley. And I think it's interesting, as we're mentioning the small folk, that, we should think of Torrhen Manderley, because he's literally there just so he can be blamed for the lack of resources. And I don't know if he realizes that, but he probably does. Yeah. He seems like a smart guy. He probably realizes it to some degree, but I guess we're going to have to see. Meanwhile, the gold cloaks are out here, like, bringing people out of their houses, yelling, scrub. And I feel like them trying to brutalize the people, them trying to get the walls clean, them beating people up when they don't know who actually did the stuff. It's tricky, right? Because that creates a weird state, and it's anarchy and bedlam. And that's funny enough where Aegon finds himself too. Like, this idea of bedlam and being in a place that is completely foreign, I mean, first of all, him arriving at that area and saying something like, just him talking about, like, oh, this is Cole's garrison, like, they're loyal to me. And I'm just like, bro, does this look like a garrison to you? Genuinely. Like, what are you talking about? This is Cole's garrison. This is a bunch of kids robbing corpses. And as soon as you die, they'll rob yours too. It's that simple. Just like with the Gold Close, there's always some self-important idiot named Janos who is running this whole camp, right? And I feel like Aegon's looks, I guess, when Dude says, "My lord," you know, he's disgusted by the idea that people would follow this man, but at the same time, he's disgusted, obviously, with what they're making him do. And then, of course, we have the latrines, and you
have to separate them. Separate the poop and the pee.
Okay. Well, yeah. Thankfully, not my job. But the guy who was selling the Sunfire tickets, which sounds like a festival, I know.
That's the real fire fest right there.
Yeah. So there was actually
very entrepreneurial.
Exactly. There was a shady looking guy holding a dagger behind him. And that guy was also at the camp. And I wonder if he recognizes Aegon somehow because he's just quietly watching. I don't know if that guy's going to be important
They
in some
did
way.
linger on him for a second.
He was just there and he was chilling.
And Aegon isn't really even helping his case, saying things like, "I will have your tongue for that." Saying things like,
Outrage.
"Don't touch me."
He was told, we didn't eat today, but we'll eat tomorrow. And he's like, "Excuse me?"
Bro, that's how your people are living, man. That's how your people are living. You gotta get with the times.
The people are angry, and they're angry. They're angry. He thinks, if they knew that I was their king, But chances are, if they knew who you were, they would skin you alive.
They'll just rob you.
Because I don't think they're not that happy with you. Like, then same way they're not happy with Rhaenyra. For example, I realized that there was something interesting to me about the Queen of Bastards graffiti. And it turns out, I figured out what was interesting to me about it. It was those colors. Those are the colors of how strong.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually looks
the
like
green, blue, red. Those are the colors of how strong. So literally, that was layered protest. It's not something Ulf would understand. But for those of us watching, it's like, okay, like these people mean business. Like, they're not just calling her Queen of Bastards because there are quote unquote bastards riding dragons. It's the fact that, like, this idea of her children's legitimacy is still in question. Even though technically it shouldn't be, because you could say that Viserys legitimized them and literally gave Lucerys, Driftmark. But hey, it is what it is at this point.
With
all that in mind, though, I'm thinking about the Greens again, and I want to actually start with someone who is neutral. Alice the Witch. So there are so many theories about her that we're not sure how they're going to adapt these theories, or I guess what will be adapted and what we'll truly learn of her. I mean, some people think she's the true mother of Harwin, Strong, and Larys, right? Some people think she's the daughter of Lionel. Some people think she may even be older than Lionel or older than Lionel's father, right? We don't know how old she is, but we know that, or at least I know that when Cole walks into Harrenhal and is like, "Okay, we seek the Prince Aemond," and she's like, "Oh my." That was absolutely hilarious to me, because
that was very funny.
She
knows where that man is.
Yeah, impeccable costume design as well. I mean, I know that I really feel like people are. There are jokes online about how, like, now Simon Strong hasn't even been dead for a week and she's already dripped in his colors. She's upgraded her wardrobe. Like, she basically took his clothes and like sewed them into a dress. Let's be real. Like, some people are saying that she's in Simon Strong drag, which is absolutely funny. But the costume design is obviously amazing, and I like the detail of Cole's Hand of the King necklace on his armor. Like, that's actually very cool. But one thing about what happens with Alice and the fact that she, tries to tell them what's up, she lies, obviously. She says Aemond was here, but he disappeared. And that's an easy thing for people to believe, because obviously Vhagar is nowhere to be found. Nobody, and it, obviously, like, that's significant, right? It's pretty hard to lose something like Vhagar. Like, if Vhagar was around, you see Vhagar, that's the largest dragon. So, that's why they believe her. And I don't know if she's used some magic to hide Vhagar, because we know that Aemond is definitely still in that castle, healing from whatever wounds, or I guess she's treating him somehow, right? So
yeah,
we know that he wasn't able to fly Vhagar away, and Vhagar is tired and old. Vhagar doesn't just get up and start flying randomly like the other dragons do. So if Vhagar was there, we know. So I'm just wondering, like, what happened with that, or if Aemond is already healed magically and is somewhere else.
That's a great question, because they did say there's a dragon nest, but no dragon. I wonder, because we know Alice has some types of powers. Maybe she's been able to conceal Vhagar somehow from the eyes of the folks who are there. But that's definitely interesting to see. I'm curious to see where everyone is looking for Aemond.
Yeah, he's Westeros' most wanted right now.
The most popular man.
The most wanted.
And, you know, I like what Cole was saying too. Like, you Noble conceive of all this a great game, don't you? Right? When he says that to Gwyn, when he says the game has been played and it is lost. And I think one strength that the Greens have is the fact that they have someone in their leadership who knows what it is to not have a safety net. Like the fact that they have people like Cole, the fact that they have strategists like Ormund, the fact that they have people like Otto, for crying out loud. And that the loss of Otto is a massive loss to them.
Yeah.
To be honest. But we'll see how Ormund fills those shoes. And also I get the sense that Cole is anti-dragon, like Cole the Dragon Being. Like I think he's traumatized, to be honest with you.
After Rook Dress, yeah, I think so.
You think?
So it's, I mean, we'll just have to see how he recovers, and if this whole thing, you know, like I was saying, of him now seeming to have purpose again, is something that's going to, I guess, bear fruits for his character and give us something interesting in terms of his dynamic with people like Gwyn, with people like, you know, Aemond, or anyone else. For all we know, he'll end up at Tumbleton too, right? So, now, circling back to Tumbleton itself as we start to kind of round this up, there is so much to unpack, so I'm not sure where to begin, but let's start with Ormund himself, right? Because Alison's description of him resembles the way people talk about today's billionaire philanthropists who claim they care about the people that they're blessing, right? And I feel like he is somebody who, as we've seen, is prone to crash outs, right? Behind the scenes, he may not have as much emotional regulation. And I wonder what he would do if he was pushed, like if he was truly pushed into a corner where he had to defend himself but couldn't. Like, let's say a situation where Aemond doesn't show up, right? He's eccentric in a way that essentially requires the classic move of that Hollywood loves, of filling the screen with the giant butt. I don't know. They felt the need to introduce him this way, and it is what it is.
That was an interesting thing. Do y'all think that was a power move?
Like, I mean, definitely him getting up out of the tub to say, "Yeah." Because I mean, there's no greater vulnerability than being naked, right? So when people do that in these shows and whatnot, it's to say, "Yeah, I'm completely naked, but you wouldn't dare touch me because I'm that much more powerful than you." And funny enough, he does this in front of all his people. He does it in front of Daron, whom he's said to be fatherly with. So this is just normal. Like, they just know that this is how this guy is. And that's one of my favorite things about what this episode does for Ormund's characterization. It feels lived in. Like, we get the sense that this is how this guy has always been, and we just met him. Like, it doesn't feel like it is sometimes when characters are introduced, where it's like, okay, they just started existing at this very moment. Like, it feels like this guy has always been here, and we have been lucky to escape him up until this point, but we are no longer so lucky. And actually, by the way, something just occurred to me. Speaking of new people, who is the new Queen's Guard? Because I know I was talking last week about how there's barely any of these guys left.
Yeah, they didn't really show how he was chosen. But he seems to be doing a good job.
Was he always there? Was he just one of the ones in King's Landing?
No,
he definitely caught my eye in this episode because he kind of looked like a mix between Harwin Strong and like Sir Arryn, like with the beard.
Sir Arik,
Yeah. Yeah, so
well,
but yeah, they definitely didn't introduce him, but he was lurking.
he was
Yeah,
lurking
I guess
for
I
sure.
hope
He's
we'll
protecting
figure that
the
out soon
queen.
because obviously he's a confidant and he's somebody that he's the main person guarding Rhaenyra now. Like there's no Laurent, there's no Darkland, there's no Eric, there's no Arik. There isn't even any Cole. So yeah, it's funny. But speaking of people around around an important person, right? We have Daeron saying stuff like "Yes, sire," and that's interesting. Like everybody is like "My lord," everybody is like "Sir,"
Yeah.
things like that, or even "Your Grace" if the person is like high enough in the ranking. But Daeron calls Ormund sire all the time, and I wonder if that's the way he was raised to kind of I wonder if that's just Ormund's way of supposedly, training Daeron to see him as his superior. Like, despite all the power you have, like, you're still doing all this in service of me.
I think
And the light of
Daeron
the seven,
sees him
so to
as
speak.
his dad, because Alicent talks about how, like, earlier in the episode where she's meeting with Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra is trying to get a sense of who Ormund is. Alicent talks about how she sent him to Old Town when he was very, very little, like barely
like literally
a
a child, infant.
Yeah, like an infant. So at that point, like that is his father as far as he knows, which is why he calls him sire. And a few other things about Ormund, is how he sees the Targaryens. He calls them a savage race.
What a speech that was, just this idea of like, they're a savage race, low in intellect,
we
but
are
rich in
the
cunning.
superior man.
Interlopers.
We are the superior man. He says that he said with dark spells, they created abominations to subdue what was rightfully ours. We are the superior men, but against that, we could not stand. Right?
Exactly.
And he's calling them savages, not just for the dragons, but also for this idea that they would be so uncouth as to uplift a woman. He said the brutes raise a woman to the Iron Throne, a desecration. Where is reason? Where is propriety? And I'm like, okay,
but
we
who
may
does
be
that
dealing
sound
with
like?
someone.
Who does that sound like? Where is propriety? That sounds exactly like Alicent, if you remember from a couple seasons ago.
Yes.
That's exactly it goes back to that Hightower, understanding of
being
propriety. Yeah. Like, because they are part of this culture of the seven, which is very patriarchal, which is very like hierarchical as well. And as far as everything they see, the Targaryens even ruling over them is an abomination. The incest is an abomination. So all of this is like, disgusting to him. And you kind of see that come out.
Yeah, at first, like, I hate to say it, but at first I liked Ormund in this episode because I'm like, all right, he's in Tumbleton.
We don't blame
fair.
you. You were bamboozled like the rest of us.
We were.
Like, he's gonna go geld the rapist and break his arm. Like, he is being fair. And I'm like, I'm cool with this. I like this.
Yeah, Garrick of
Daeron
White Grove
seems like a
coming.
sweet kid. Yeah, exactly. So by the end, I'm like, ooh, okay, we're dealing with something different here. And I kind of joke around, but Ormund reminds me of Dennis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Dennis Reynolds. Oh my God.
He looks so much like Dennis, but he also acts like him too, where it's this like smooth, calm way of presenting, but under is this like absolute psychopath.
Yeah.
And I'm getting like Dennis Reynolds vibes so much from Ormund. So at the end, after he crashes out, after he gives his speech about the Targaryens, and it's clear like he doesn't want Daeron to be soft and sweet and cuddling with his dragon. He's like, those y'all are incestuous aliens, to quote the Toss Away guy. So we need a kind of like prop you up in the Hightower way, and that really mirrored what Alicent said about like, I sent him off to be a Hightower because I gave birth to all Targaryens.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's
it's crazy.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I don't know.
Dennis
At this
Reynolds
point,
is a great comparison.
yeah, like that's good. That's really good. And it lends credence to what Alicent said about how he supposedly, ruled Old Town as a kingdom unto itself. You can now see, when you hear her saying that, and then you meet the guy, you understand how he handles, judging that whole thing with Garrick of Whitegrove and his depravity. You're like, okay, if he ruled Old Town as a king unto himself, I guess he was a good king. But then it turns out, maybe not so much. Maybe not so
Maybe
much.
not
First of all, he
so
never
much.
texted Otto back. And, on top of
Left
all
him
that,
on red.
yeah, I just feel like all these different things that he's doing, like bringing that guy back, for example, is just, yeah,
That just shows how much of a control freak he is.
Yeah, he's like,
he
I mean,
needs to-
Daeron says it too, right? He's like, I thought you let him go. Like, he only did what he did because one of our men attacked a woman. He didn't even say his sister. He said a woman, just a woman in general, which kind of puts the audience at ease as to where Daeron's mindset is and if he's truly been indoctrinated by, who these people are. He's agreeing, but I mean, I don't know. It's
different.
Yeah, it's cool. I have high hopes for him, and I worry for him now with this whole, now you must be king that, Ormund is feeding into his ears, because that's the same kind of thing Otto would do, right? This idea, this running theme of Hightowers trying to control the throne by putting their own Targaryens on it. Like, that was Otto's whole thing. It was Otto's brother's whole thing, Ormund's father, Hobart. Like, let Aegon be born, and to heck with Rhaenyra. But that mindset is what has gotten us here today, right? Because the Hightowers, how much power they have. Like, Orwylle tells us that, and they funded the construction of the Starry Sept in Old Town, and, he's giving a lot of advice to Rhaenyra, but because he's fighting for his life. But one has to wonder, like, I wonder if there are people who are doubting Orwell's kind of like allegiance.
I think you guys doubts everyone, because everyone has their own individual, like
agendas.
Orwylle. Honestly, if I were Rhaenyra, I would doubt Orwylle even more, because like he actually even worked for the Greens.
Yeah.
He worked for them. Maybe that's the look that Mysaria is giving him, like, I'm watching you,
Maybe, but that reminds me of something, right? Keeping Alicent around is such a bad idea, because she'd be less of a danger to you if you actually just let her and Helaena and Jaehaera frolic in Essos or whatever the heck they want to do. Here, she could be turned against you. She's not necessarily on your side. She's your prisoner, right? So Alicent, in trying to ensure the survival of her daughter and granddaughter, even though the show wants us to believe that there's still this friendship that is driving the entire thing, like, that could turn out very badly for Rhaenyra if Alicent essentially has to choose between her family and whatever Rhaenyra's claim is.
And Rhaenyra is actually taking Alicent's advice a lot.
She should not be going to her for advice, because I think she's going to her not for advice, but for validation. And in that validation, it's like advice is what's kind of coming out. She's using that, right? She's going to her for intel as well. And, Alicent she has to provide such advice and whatnot, because she has to kind of make herself seem useful to still keep around. Because even if Rhaenyra wants to keep her around, Daemon could just show up in the night one day and cut her head off.
And just cut off, exactly. Speaking of Alicent, Helaena,
She's pregnant. 100%.
Apostle will say about this one.
Who's the dad?
Pregnant.
This is something I've actually been waiting to really see if they would do. And it's, it has narrative implications, obviously, because after Blood and Cheese, which, Gab, are you familiar with what actually happened in the books when it came to Blood and Cheese?
Yeah.
So this idea that there was a second son who they actually had to choose, but she had to choose between them, and that was part of what traumatized her. I wonder if all of the outcry from the fandom after after season 2, made the showrunners go, okay, maybe we should find a way to get this second child in here somehow. But I don't know how that will work with timelines, because when is she going to have this baby? Like, what will the baby end up doing? How long will the baby be around? Will the baby be around long enough to make any real narrative difference? Like, or if there is narrative impacts from the baby, what would that be? Like, all these little questions, and it's unclear, right? How that will go. And I mean, as far as who the father is, I believe it's Aegon, because it actually, I still maintain it hasn't been that long since Rook's Rest.
Why don't you
I think it's been less than
Aegon?
9 months since Rook's Rest. Let's just put it that way. Less than less than 4.
No, but like, she's probably what, 2 months pregnant, 3 months pregnant.
Yeah, she's not showing.
She's not showing.
I mean, not
So
everybody
it means
shows
that
the same way, first of all, but at the same time, I just don't see it being Aemond, if that's what you're getting at.
You don't see? No, I'm like, is it Kristen Cole? No, I'm kidding. But it's just like, who
I
could
thought
it be?
Too. I'm like,
Oh
it's
my
Kristen
God.
Cole.
There is, so he's
Multi-generational.
So then what he would, like, because he's with Alicent, but oh man, that'd be insane.
Yeah,
Alicent
but
might
it's like, I
actually
don't
stab him
think
in
it's
the neck.
Aegon. Just the timeline is just, again, we don't know the timeline, but Rook's Rest was like, I don't know, 2 months ago, a month and a half. And she's like 2-3 months pregnant. So it could be before, but because the timelines aren't like clear, it also could not be. So
yeah,
I'm going to choose.
I mean,
to
we'll have to
it's
see when she
not
gives
him.
birth. I don't know. Which, by the way, her struggling to put on her dress because she's not used to doing it by herself in the background while Rhaenyra and Alicent are talking is hilarious.
that was so funny. Yeah.
And then you find out that
Comedy.
she's struggling extra because literally she's pregnant.
Yeah.
So it's just, there's a lot happening there. And yeah, I don't know. The father of her baby is out here kissing people's feet. So I don't know if
alleged father.
Alleged father.
Yeah. I mean, but that Janos guy though, big fish in a small pond. Like, I mean, it just goes to show you, like, give someone just a tiny bit of power and see what they do. And I noticed,
you've seen it growing up in Nigeria now. You give someone a little bit of power and how far they take it.
Yeah. I mean, and it's interesting to me, just as sort of like a production detail, how Janos and a few of the other people in that Rook's Rest camp, which I guess it
was House Staunton, right?
It was House Staunton.
Remember?
So I guess that house is basically done for at this point. But like, those guys there are wearing Staunton and Darkling gear, because Darklings of Duskendale were fighting at Rook's Rest for Rhaenyra. So that's kind of interesting to me. I think, all these different people, all these different agendas, I feel like this episode gave us a good view of all the different things that were happening. Like, it didn't feel like it was rushing any particular place, which keeps me confident for the pacing. So I really just have to say, this might be the best 4-episode run this show has ever done. Like, ever. Literally.
Since season one?
It may
No, I think season 1.
it may even rival some of the all-time great 4-episode runs of Game of Thrones itself.
Okay,
Like,
let's
banger.
chill.
No, I mean in terms of how,
I don't know
I mean
about-
in terms of the consecutive bangers of episodes. Yeah.
Yes, let's.
I think 4, 5, 6, 7 of season 1 is better, but like not that much better.
Let me think
And
about
I
that.
think, if
4,
anything,
5,
this
6,
latest
7 of season
episode.
1. Okay.
Yeah.
The time skip, the claiming of Vhagar, the death of Daemon's second wife, I
Lhaena.
forget her name, that whole thing, Lhaena, yeah, all that stuff.
I mean,
was
I
gonna
think Game of Thrones
say-
season 1 had like banger after banger, and Game of Thrones season 3 also had banger
I
after
had
banger.
banger
after
after
bangers,
banger.
yeah.
Come on, man.
But
You
I'm saying
can't
that, like,
compare.
since then, like, I don't know, like, this 4-episode run we just had of the first half of House of Dragons season 3, it might be maybe the most engaging
It's up
4-episode
there.
run
It's up
that
there.
we've had, like, since peak Game of Thrones, is what I'm saying. Like, peak Game of
It's
Thrones, we had,
definitely-
think about the first 4 episodes of Game of Thrones season 4. Like, that was insane. Like, you have the whole 2 swords thing, then you have the purple wedding, then you have everything that Jon is trying to do after having returned. It's, yeah, there's so much going on there, and I feel like the pacing of this episode was amazing, and it's really contributing to just the pacing of this whole first half. Like, it's crazy to think we're 4 weeks into this show now.
Yeah.
And we have 4 weeks left. So what do you guys
through.
think is coming, like in the back half of the season, in terms of how they're going to handle it? Like, I know there's some things that happen in the source material that they're going to have to adapt one way or another, and some of it will probably be devastating for a lot of viewers. So I really hope they bring that pacing, and I hope they bring the characterization. I hope they bring like the detailed work that they always do. Even the comedy, right? Daemon yelling at Caraxes to obey is actually prime comedy in this episode. Like, he shushed Caraxes and Caraxes actually shushed, which was
when
funny
he
to
was
me.
like this and Caraxes.
Yeah, and also the fact that for some reason Jane Eyre's dog has better hair than half the characters in the show. Like, these little things are just like funny details that you notice, and you just laugh as you see them. I hope they continue to bring that energy, and
Absolutely.
I hope that we get a sense of what the stakes continue to be in this world, even for people like stupid ass Garrick of Whitegrove, right? Which I mean, I just have to point out, like, you're all standing here. They've said what you did. The woman is out here with a broken arm. There's another guy here who is bleeding, and you're like, I didn't touch them. Meanwhile, there's blood on your face. And I mean, Ormund, it's funny because Ormund doesn't even waste time. Like, he says what he says, and he's like, yeah, you may remain in my service, but trespass again and you will hang. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, they gelded him, they're cutting off his hand. Well, they're breaking his hand, his arm, and I guess he's just going to be there. And then he's like, I have a wife, which is just like, bro.
Should have thought about that.
Should have thought about that. Exactly. Before you pissed off Dennis.
So yeah, I mean, that was a good episode. I don't know if you guys have any like final thoughts before we put our final verdict on the Adaptometer, but yeah, it was a lot to cover.
Who do you think played the game best? Who do you think played the game best?
I think,
because this was a very politics heavy episode.
Yeah.
Versus like after a big battle, there's always a calm in the Game of Thrones lore. So like this has been like a calm, but it's been very heavy on the politicking these last two episodes, which I really love. So it brings back the throwback question of who played the game best.
Okay, so my first instinct is to say, yeah, I think Mysaria is a good contender. And I was going to say as well that my first instinct would be maybe to say Ormund, but I'm actually going to say Orwylle, because I don't think a lot of people in his position would still be alive. Let's be real.
Yeah.
That man keeps finding new ways to be useful.
That's true. That's true. I mean, he gave Rhaenyra her little, explanation of the relationship between the Hightowers and the Faith. He's giving her advice. Yeah, Orwylle, that's a good one.
Gab,
I think
what do you
Ormund, he rolled with the punches pretty well, and I think it's clear to me that Daeron is like a sweet and sensitive boy and like a good
With his
boy
tiny little
deep down. But I think Ormund is able to show how, like, Daeron did not want to kill that man. He did not, and he did to please Ormund. And I think like that's a big win that he's
of
controllable.
him killing someone was portrayed as well.
Yeah. And it was crazy to me. Like, he literally stabbed him in probably the most painful place to die, rather than just slicing off his head to show that maybe he's not strong enough to like fully wield a sword and cut off a man's head. So the way it was done, the way they wiped the sword clean on the man's like clothing was just that was great.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad Targaryen got to eat.
Oh my god, the crunching sound
at the end
when they rolled the credits.
Right after Ormund says, and now we begin. Yeah, you can tell it's about to go down.
Now we begin the feast.
Yeah,
I think one of my like closing thoughts on this episode is, now this is the most spread out House of the Dragon has ever felt. Before it was like we're going between one place and another, the blacks and the greens. Now we have at least, I think, 4 or 5 different plots going on. So it really does feel like that OG Game of Thrones, like seasons 2 and 3. And I will say that I was interested in every single plot line. Like, I wanted to know what Aegon and Larys were getting up to. I was interested in Cole and Gwaine. So that to me is peak Westeros, when there's a lot going on. I love the politicking episodes, but when each little vignette is able to hold its own in terms of character development and how it's moving the plot forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree more, in fact. this was really good and well adapted, I would say. As we said at the beginning, you know, there's a lot of the material here is not necessarily in the books because they're doing a good job of providing us with that extra context that we would not have, which is, I think, what was one of the major selling points of this specific show. I would say in terms of the way, because obviously we officially meet Daeron as Daeron in this episode. The way that was adapted, I'm going to give that a plus 100% because just the way the people around him behave, you know, Roxton walks in and is like, my prince, you know, before he says anything else. So they all know who he is. They all treat him as they should. Like, this is the son of the king, the brother of the current king as well. The brother, and however you look at that, whether it's Aegon or Rhaenyra, that's their brother. But yeah, it's interesting how that was done, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the way Ormund was fleshed out, so I'm going to give that a plus 2. I appreciate the way they did Tumbleton, right? Because the atmosphere, the general cadence of how the people talk to each other, the overall fear, the way things are being set up, I give that a plus because essentially they've set the stage well with that. And then I'm not sure whether to give a plus to Daemon and Rhaena as of right now.
That one should be neutral at the most because let's see how that one ends up.
Cooks,
yeah. So, and then the final thing that I would bring up for ye old Adaptometer is King's Landing itself and how the people are reacting and how this idea of conflicting notions of Rhaenyra are fomenting chaos within the city. Because a big part of ruling is ruling and taking care of King's Landing. Just like the Lords Paramount all have their major places to take care of, like, you know, the Lord of Castle Rock is in charge of, you know, Castle Rock, Lannisports, and the Westerlands. You know, the Storm Kings and, you know, the Storm Lords are in charge of, you know, the Stormlands, and the Northerners, the Starks, are in charge of Winterfell and the areas surrounding it and all those other cities. The Sovereign is in charge of the Crown Lands, which mainly is King's Landing. Like, King's Landing is a city, a tiny little mini kingdom unto itself, and it's sort of like, I wouldn't say it's a microcosm of Westeros because most of Westeros is not like it, but King's Landing being in chaos is definitely something that spells disaster for anybody who is ruling. So the fact that we're able to see all of that fomenting, some people like Rhaenyra, some people don't. There's still people who are calling her Queen of Bastards. Like, that's like a nice little touch for them to really ground us in, you know, the world of the show, such that whatever the people end up doing, we understand how the seeds were planted when we are able to look back. So that's very cool to me. So I'm going to give that a plus as well. So that puts us at 4.5 out of 5 for the Adaptometer, which would indicate statistically that this episode is well adapted. But if anybody disagrees with us, I suppose they can let us know. But yeah, that's just about it, guys. This has been really fun. Gab, thank you so much for joining us. It's been really cool to have you on.
This was a blast. It was great to talk with a Team Brown as well, because I feel like everyone I know is Team Black. So I appreciate you sticking to.
There are confused people who don't seem to know what they want to be. I mean, he's still in denial.
I'm starting a movement here, guys.
Go Team Daron. Team Brown doesn't sound.
I'm Team Daron, but like, we need a color. Okay, I'm open to suggestions of other colors.
Team Redhead maybe, because it's
Team Red maybe, actually, because he's
green. Like, he's a green and the Targaryens are red. So
yeah, so I think maybe Daron. We can say that Daron fans from here on out are Team Red. Let's just put it that way.
Team Red? All right, fine. I'm Team Red.
I'm cool with Team Red. Because yeah, it's Targaryen red and he happens to be a green, so he's not really black. Yeah, it's the whole thing. And I will say, going forward, I'm curious as to where Corlys will actually end up and what he's going to be doing in the next episode, because obviously he's going somewhere. And Alyn does tell us a little bit about what Corlys' plans are, but how well is that going to work out? Yeah, Tumbleton seems to be ground zero for a lot of things. So yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
I guess we'll have to wait. Any final thoughts, guys?
Excited to see where this goes next. Excited to see what happens
Same.
in Tumbleton. Excited to see how Hugh Hammer and Ulf, decide how they move in regards to Tumbleton, specifically with Hugh's wife being there and now her brother being killed. How does that affect what they do? Also excited to see what happens with Rhaena now. Now that she's flying all about with
Aemond.
Stealer. And Aemon.
Yeah, I want to know what
where
Aemond is up to.
Yeah, where is that
Aemond?
guy? Yeah, but those are my final thoughts.
Yeah,
I think
we'll find out.
My final thought is that I think Rhaenyra or the Blacks will do something this season that will make it harder to support them. That's my prediction. So
I agree.
I'm interested to see what that will be. And yeah.
I feel like the show this season it probably has its main agenda as pushing the audience to see how far they're willing to go to support Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
And
honestly, what Ormund's opening line, like one of them was, "Is she a queen or is she a bitch with a dragon?"
Yeah.
And I think like the rest of the season is going to
James
ask
Norton
us that
is so
question.
camp for that, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I heard him say, like he was talking about that scene and the fact that his butt fills the entire screen, and just the fact that he gets up and he says something interesting in that when as an actor, when you don't trust a director, who by the way again is Claire Kilner, the GOAT, when you don't trust a director, you don't give them that much because you're not sure how they'll edit it and like put it together for the final product, and maybe it'll construe something that you were not intending to portray. But when you do trust a director, you kind of just give them a lot to work with. And he said that, he said, I'm just going to be playful with it. He said that he basically cocked his body. Is just like, what if she,
He cocked his body is a fun way of saying.
Which is, interesting. I know. The English language is funny. So I feel like, I feel like he's going to be a treat to have in this show. I've enjoyed him in so many other things, mainly House of Guinness recently, and he's really good. So I look forward to seeing how they handle this character, and I guess how Rhaenyra's reign actually comes to be, because I mean he said that his purpose is to restore the rightful line to the Iron Throne. So Rhaenyra has to prove that that's her, but that means getting rid of a lot of people. So we'll see if she has a stomach for it. Alicent has told her that she's going to have to do some things she doesn't want to do. But with that, thank you all so much for being here up until this point. This has been a long one, but it has been a fun one. And I'm grateful to all of you for being here. I'm grateful to Afam, Soonen, and Gab. Please check out everything Gab is doing. She does cover this show every week on her own channel, and all of her links will be in all of the descriptions everywhere you're watching or listening. I guess until next time, don't listen to your uncle.